So we're sitting here with Synderen from Mouse Sports. Welcome, Synderen. How's the event going for you so far?
We played 2-1 in the group stage. The game we lost was against Liquid, who were, either us or Liquid were the favorites of the group. It's okay. We got through the group like we expected to, and which was the goal. We would have liked to take a 3-0, but the game against Liquid wasn't that good for a couple of reasons. But we're through, and we're excited to see who we get to play in the next round.
All right. What are your expectations for the rest of the event? Do you have any specific enemies you think might be really tough?
I think Na'Vi are the favorites. I know a lot of people will probably be cheering for Alliance as well and think they are the favorites, but in my opinion right now Na'Vi is the strongest team, but Alliance is definitely also a team to look out for. I think those two are probably our strongest opponents right now.
Those two, right. And the new patch also just came out before the event. Are there any expectations you have for the patch being used for this new event? Any special tactics you might see?
There are a few special heroes that have been picked a little bit. You saw Flipside just played Timbersaw. I don't think it's going to make a breakthrough right now. It's cool that they played it. It didn't work, but I think the main thing in this tournament is Naga Siren. She did get her cooldown reduced again on Riptide to 10 seconds, and that helps her a bit in the laning phase and generally in the game in fights. And just the way drafting works right now, it's kind of a good pickup to have because of the way bans work now. You can quickly, if you pick up in the first two, you can start banning out again. Whereas before you got 3 picks first, so you had more options to counter pick in the first phase. Now it's very limited what you can actually do. Naga Siren's also good against the popular carry like Lifestealer, and Snare goes through BKB, which many carries rely on right now. So she's a strong hero. Not really my favorite kind of hero, but she's probably going to be the biggest pick now.
All right, and besides the Naga Siren being picked a lot and the banning change, are there any other significant changes you think have affected the game?
I don't know what else really made a breakthrough. Drafting is still kind of the same, but then again, the way bans work, it's harder to counterpick in my opinion because it's easier to safeguard your first picks very early. But we still see the same kind of top picks like Darkseer, Lifestealer, Lone Druid. What am I forgetting? Wisp, Bad Rider. They're still at the top. I feel like it's mainly the carries that change. Because both Lifestealer, Lone Druid, and Gyrocopter got nerfed. Gyro is still a top pick, by the way. But because they got nerfed, it opened up a little bit more for some of the other heroes. So I don't know. If you look over the successful teams right now and what's been going on in the draft, there hasn't really been anything surprising. But it's nice to see some more variety on the carries. I think that's the best thing about the version so far.
All right, and as a team, you guys probably prepared for this event. Are there any specific things you did so that you would have a good chance?
Obviously we're playing with Bone 7, so we have a stand-in for Koikva who couldn't make it, so it's different than playing with our full squad, but Bone 7 is a really good player. We've practiced some games with him to get prepared, obviously, but as far as strategies go, we haven't really been experimenting that much because the focus had been on we had a little bit of complications when the patch came out. We needed to get used to it, so we've kind of tried to find a comfort zone instead of experimenting very much. And then, of course, playing Bone into that, we've just kind of gone for what for us is very standard picks and plays. So in order to be confident with that, we've had to not experiment too much, but get Bone played into the team and see how far we can go with that.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. In general, outside of DreamHack, there's a lot of amateur teams that try to seek a way to break through in the scene. If you have do you have any tips that you could give to the amateur teams on how they might be able to really step up their game?
The best way to step up your game is to keep playing tournaments where the pros are in. And the problem with the way the scene works is that obviously there's many of these invitational tournaments, like the Raid Call Dota 2 League, the Defense, these kind of tournaments. The Defense has a qualifier session actually where some teams get a chance, but overall the pro scene is kind of closed because people want to see the pro teams competing against each other. So if you're an up-and-coming team, you have to just look for the tournaments where you can have a chance. It could be tournaments like the 4PL, all the cup tournaments that run every week or every month where you can sign up. Just keep testing yourselves, and that's where you get the games against good opponents. And yeah, I mean, for myself back then, I just liked the game, I liked playing, and I was hungry for getting into a competitive team. So if you get acknowledged through playing in-house leagues or being good in some teams that have been playing those cups, that's your way to get entry into the scene. But it's a lot about luck as well. A player like Admiral Bulldog is the example I always pick up, right? Because he was unknown, And Dendi played some pubs, and he was like, this guy's actually pretty good. And then he got to stand in for Navi when they needed a stand-in some games. And then all of a sudden, oh, this guy's actually pretty good. And then Eternal Envy was building No Tidehunter then. And then they started playing with him. And he got his way into the scene basically through Dendi. That's like the 1 in a million story, right? But you can get lucky like that. It's just hard.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, on a more personal level, Dota has obviously affected your life. If you could describe Dota in 3 words, what would you say?
Entertaining, challenging, and learning, I think.
That's nice. And on a further level, what are the sacrifices you've had to make in your personal life to be able to get to the level you're at now?
Actually not that big. I've always tried to find a balance where I have time for my university, time for doing stuff with my friends and my girlfriend, and playing at the same time. It's obviously, the thing about that is it gets stressful sometimes when it's inevitable that things will collide at some point. Like, then you have an important tournament, and then you have an exam at the same time, and then you get invited to something with your friends that you really want to go to. And I mean, sometimes you just can't do everything at once, but I try to balance it out so nothing gets left out. And so far it's been working fine, I think. But yeah, obviously if I wasn't playing competitively at all, I would have more time for the other things, but so far it hasn't been detrimental, I think, to anything. So.
All right. Well, that's all the questions we have. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I obviously hope that we do well in the rest of the tournament, and I hope that there's a lot of fan following in it. I mean, the tournament so far, it's the best DreamHack tournament team-wise that we've ever had, I think. There's all the Western teams from the International, I hear. 3 American teams, I think it's the first time ever. So that's a really big thing for the scene. So I hope people show support and really, give the sponsors of the tournament some return on their investment so that they can see this is a big thing and that it's growing. Apart from that, of course, shout out to our fans. It's great to see people backing us up and believing in us. Now, the next step is going to be the harder one. Now the really good teams start to kick in. And yeah, apart from that, of course, shout out to Mouse Sports, the organization, and our sponsors, BenQ, Guile, Razer, and Thortec for supporting us here. And also, to my team in Bone 7, it's nice that he could stand in on short notice and was able to play for Koikva. So I hope we do well.
All right, thanks for the interview and good luck.
Thank you.